Welcome back to the Rampage cast. All Rampage all the time. All the arcade game, none of the Rock movie. We'll be right back with more Rampage talk.
But first, My Hero Academia, episode 58, in which Gravity Girl, Deku Scrub, Bakugo, Icy Hot, Froppy, and Ida take part in a special murder mystery class. Deku deduces everything based on absolutely nothing, but they still fail because the villain escapes. Also, there's a framing story that turns out to be an elaborate advertisement for the movie. Okay.
So this was nothing but dumb filler nonsense.
Yep.
Although I've had to be honest with you, it had some funny moments. It had some cool stuff. I liked the flashback to the villain and the lady and how that played out, because I just like Midnight being this love-struck woman who's just out to save her poor tragedy-stricken villain of a ex-boyfriend, and that's like, you know what, this is fun. I like the visual play out of this.
The only thing I like, well, not the only thing. One of the things I liked about this, even though ultimately it's a filler, so it doesn't really matter and doesn't really count. I liked that at one point Bakugo was clearly like, I don't have an idea what to do here, and he looks to Deku and goes like, you've probably thought of something by now, right? Like I can kind of count on you to have an idea. And I'm like, that's nice that he is at least willing to like make this conceit at some point of just like, yo, I'm out of ideas. You're a nerd. You've thought of something, right?
Do the nerd work, nerd.
Yeah, exactly. Like obviously he's going to frame it and cover it in insults, but he is essentially going, yo, I can't do this. I need your help.
This episode was definitely put together very quickly, though, because one of the things that you'll notice is that it lacks a lot of proper framing and setup. There's a lot of like...
Speaking of proper framing and setup, for those who don't know why this weird filler episode is happening right in the middle of an arc, we should probably... So there's a thing in Japan called, what is it, Save the World with Love Day?
Something
I
like
guess.
that?
I was hoping somebody else would know what they were talking about, because I sure don't. It's a charity thing that they do every year, and every show on the network that day has to tell some story.
Love-themed episode.
Yeah.
And
this barely stuck to that structure at all.
This was like we're going to put exactly the amount of love quota in here that we need to make sure it fits.
Well, it's interesting because love here is actually a tragic love, and I thought that was neat. Like,
and also false.
Yeah, and fake.
Yeah, but so I was like gearing up for like, okay, so is every show on our FMK watch list going to be weird this week? No, turns out just this one.
Oh yeah.
I guess
Maybe
My
it's
Hero's
the
the
time
only
slot
one that
or-
Well, because it was on that day specifically, and I think
Yeah.
only that channel did this whole nonsense or whatever. I like how at the beginning, like, Deku asked the question that the audience is asking, rightfully so. But again, as a throwaway filler episode that was made to appease the network, it's like, okay, fine. Like, I didn't hate this. I thought the twist at the end was really, really, really dumb, but okay.
Oh, I thought it was dumb, but since the whole murder, like, I would have liked this better if it had been an actual murder mystery whodunit, like, hey, let's go through the logic, and no, none of it makes any sense. Deku makes wild leaps of logic that everybody just instantaneously treats as though they're correct.
Including the teacher.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently he correctly deduced whatever their dumb bullshit was based on nothing.
Yeah.
But so by that point in the episode, by the end where the twist happens, which is that, so they're in a hostage situation. All Might is playing the part of the villain. It's to teach them, like, hey, sometimes you don't solve problems just by punching them real hard. Sometimes you got to use your reasoning skills. So they're placed in this mock-up hostage situation where All Might is playing a villain who has kidnapped some of the other teachers who are playing hostages. They bust in, and All Might is lying there with a bunch of fake blood everywhere, like, oh, the villain's dead. Now we've got to figure out who killed him and why.
One of his hostages is a murderer.
Yeah. And the twist at the end is, oh, you didn't actually confirm that he was dead. I mean, you tried to and then said, oh, well, it's just a fake. It's a mock-up.
Yeah, obviously we're just playing along, but for the purposes of the class, we'll assume he's supposed to be dead.
Yeah.
When in fact, like, no, his character was faking his death.
Yeah, and so while they were off interviewing the hostages, he escapes and they all fail the class. By that point, I was so accustomed to this plot being dumb that I found it just surprising enough to be funny.
I actually felt kind of proud of myself because when they left his corpse there, I was like, they should probably tie him up just in case.
Yep.
But oh well. And then later they're like, well, you should have tied him up. I'm like, fucking called it. I knew it.
So yeah, I don't know what else to say about this. It's not.
Yeah, this episode
Great.
kind of not a whole lot there. Like I'm trying to think of any like big,
Yeah.
any sort of like Todoroki and Yaoyoroza are both there, and I don't think either of them do anything.
They are only there because
and
they qualified
is
under the
there
rules.
Too? Is
Huh?
Froppy there?
Froppy's
Yeah.
there.
Froppy's there too? Okay, yeah. Those three don't do anything. Like I feel like Deku, Bakugo, and Uraraka, all three talk a lot and do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
I
Ida's
feel like
there,
the
he
others
doesn't
don't
do
really
anything.
do.
Uraraka,
Yeah,
like,
Ida. Oh yeah, Ida's there too.
Uraraka and Deku are really the only two characters who do anything except for Bakugo, who bursts in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally everybody else
And they-
does nothing.
And they at first blame Bakugo for killing All Might, which I did like. They're like, did you get hurt by the glass you just shattered? It's like, no, my blast wouldn't be strong enough to do that, would it? Like, wait, there's a knife.
But yeah, like we're covering this because we want to cover it, but what do you talk about a filler episode that essentially boils down to a stupid plot that is just meant to appease the
Yeah,
like,
there's
again-
a couple of other scenes that have to do with
The movie?
the movie. Yeah, All Might gets invited to some island by some heretofore unmentioned sidekick.
David
that he-
Shields.
Yep. Which is a pretty great dumb
that's-
superhero name.
Yeah, no, that's a good American superhero.
Yep.
Yeah, they're the father of Darian Shield. That's a cut.
Yep. Also, father of Melissa Shield, clearly being set up to be the one movie love interest for Deku, if only by virtue of being a girl of a proper age.
I keep seeing this weird image of Uraraka photoshopped everywhere. Is she like doing anything dumb?
Oh yeah, you
from
mean
this
with her
episode?
floating?
Yeah.
You know, there's a really cute scene where she uses her power to float herself up to the window. Yeah, no, I actually, again, I like how this used Uraraka more than she usually gets used. It's like she goes on reconnaissance because she's able to float up to the second story window and say, okay, there are 3 hostages and 1 villain. And so...
Yeah. But it's kind of just bland and inoffensive. I
Yeah.
didn't hate my 22 minutes with it.
Same.
If you've got 22 minutes to kill, you could do a lot worse. That said, it is really skippable. I'm going to throw up not even close to as bad as the recap episode that started off this
Same,
season,
yeah.
but skip it.
I would say the recap episode was better by virtue of having a couple of scenes that are actually memorable to me, aka the swimming stuff. I liked that. All this was just like, okay.
You
it's
just like ogling underage boys.
gross. Except for Ida, but look, that guy looks like he's 22. And
You can't yell at people for being into the pink girl because she's not 16 either.
Wait, oh, you mean the one with the horns?
Yeah, like I feel like
Yeah,
she's the
le-
one that they sexualize the most.
Other,
Other than Yaoyoroza.
It's
Yeah, no,
because
but-
she can melt her own clothes off.
let's be completely honest. She's one of those girls who's like, she's one of those
What
girls.
do you mean one of those girls?
Jeez, Scott!
One of those girls who goes to Target and finds the sluttiest clothes she can wear because she likes to show off.
Oh, okay. Exactly what it sounded like. Got it.
Yeah. Hey, those girls exist. I'm not judging them. I'm just saying they're there.
I'm judging them, and I give this one a 10.
The X is fun. But yeah, like Ben, I would watch this episode before the swimming episode probably because that felt like obvious, like spinning its wheels. This felt like, yo, we're gonna spin our wheels real quick, but we're gonna try and make it fun. And
Yeah.
like, there's a big difference there. I feel like the recap episode kind of acted like it was hiding it, and it lied. This one was like, guys, we know this doesn't count, but we just need you to be here for a second. And I think I appreciated that honesty. That said, you should go see the movie in theaters now or whatever was like the
Yeah.
last line. Made it all of a sudden feel a lot more dirty again because I was like, oh, this was a 20-minute commercial for your movie. Okay.
Yeah, it felt dirty to me the moment it was something that was required by the network. I'm just happy they found something to do with it.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we have to do this, so here, we've got the movie going on. It's why the last couple of episodes didn't look as good as the show usually looks. Please enjoy the movie. But by the way, that is, if you might have noticed, which I definitely did, the last couple of episodes have not looked bad, but they have looked...
They haven't looked great.
Yeah, slightly below the bar to which I have become accustomed on
Yeah.
this show.
Yeah, it's because they had the movie. So they
Yeah.
they had to split their staff off to go work on the very, very good-looking cuts of the movie. So...
Yeah.
I kind of want to see this episode dubbed just because I want to hear Sabbath yell, "I'm coming in the back door," or whatever, when he pops into the classroom. Because
yeah, I saw people hitting you up over that on Twitter, like, "Hey, so is All Might? Was that supposed to be?"
I feel like that's a stretch people are making.
Yeah, I feel like it too, but
Well, it is kind of funny because watashi ga kita is I'm coming or I've come.
Yeah.
And I'm really like I am here.
Yeah.
That's a great translation for that. That doesn't sound so bad.
yeah, I feel like if anything, if it was meant to be dirty by anybody, it might have been the translators just sneaking it in there
Yeah.
because this episode doesn't matter, so who cares?
Yeah.
In a that man isn't black type of way.
Right,
Yeah, exactly. Watashi ga kita. I'm not so familiar with Japanese vocabulary for sex. I don't think kita or that kind of coming is the same that they use in Japanese.
Right.
They
Doesn't have the same double entendre value.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no. It's,
Well, so that was a triple knife for My Hero. It was a good run, but it's canceled
Sorry to
forever.
see it
We'll
go.
never watch it again. Yeah, no. We, in case you didn't tune in last week, we did agree that no matter what we held up, this is filler. That was entirely to determine, do we think it's skippable, which obviously we do. We will be back next week with more My Hero talk, talking about that canon stuff. Mm-hmm. See you next week, guys. Bye-bye.
Gang Orca's gonna be there. I'm
Yeah,
so
boy,
excited.
Gang Orca.